Welcome, welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I'm so happy that you stopped by. And today we have an interesting guest in the studio. From years in the SEO trenches, today's guest knows what it takes to run successful strategies. Adrian Dahlin is the founder and CEO of Search to Sale, an SEO analytic SaaS company providing automatic content intelligence for B2B SaaS and marketing agencies. Wow. Welcome, welcome, Adrian. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
And everybody likes to talk about SEO.
Oh,
And
yeah, do they?
yes, and the thing of it is, since AI, everybody has noticed that it's changed
Yep, for sure.
considerably. So tell us a little bit about the story behind Search to Sell.
Well, it kind of ended up focusing on SEO accidentally. I was a fractional CMO in about 2022 when one of my projects was a local SaaS startup here in Seattle, where I was hired as their part-time marketing leader. And the CEO had already decided to invest in SEO. And in fact, his only business hire before me was a full-time copywriter. So they only had tech folks until they hired a copywriter. And they spent several months pumping out blogs. And then they hired me to lead marketing. And again, I was like fractional CMO, so I had like three or so clients at a time doing the same thing. And I didn't really have SEO experience at that point. So my background was as a marketing generalist, and I was trained in data science. So I had some of the fundamentals there that prepared me well for SEO, but I didn't actually have hands-on experience with SEO. I had like hired technical SEO help, but I hadn't managed an SEO content program before.
Mm.
But I had to start figuring it out because I was managing this full-time copywriter, and he was focused just on writing content. So got up to speed pretty quickly, had to come up with frameworks to do the keyword research and figure out what topics were worth going for. As traffic started to grow, we then turned our attention more to conversion. Okay, what are we doing with this traffic? So we created a nice full content pipeline on the site where we were getting lots of downloads of white papers and ebooks and stuff. Um, and basically, I was in that role for like 7 months, and we had a ton of success and growing traffic like 7x year over year, starting to generate a lot of leads. And basically, in that startup's first 4 or so years of existing, they got like 55% of their customers from organic Google search. So I looked back at my time, about 7 months managing that, and I was interested actually in making a shift to be more narrowly focused. I was, a marketing strategist, generalist, doing fractional CMO stuff.
Mhm.
And so I looked at the success we had had with this one company and decided, all right, there's something here. I'm going to go all in on SEO. And first thing I did was built a tool to automate a lot of the processes that we have been doing manually, to do keyword research and to like monitor every page on a site to figure out where there was opportunities to improve SEO or improve conversion rates. And it started actually as a tool focus. And like you said in the intro, like we were originally positioned as a SaaS company. But over time, we actually transitioned to be more of a tech-enabled agency. So we are an SEO agency providing services now. We happen to have still our own software to support all of that. But it's been interesting, man. I mean, this was late 2022 when I made this choice to focus on SEO, exactly as ChatGPT came out.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So just explain to us how search for sale go works.
Yeah, so we are now. kind of made another pivot in the middle of 2025 to really focus on this AI SEO or GEO or AEO offer. There was a lot of uncertainty in SEO for a couple of years there after ChatGPT came out. But I think collectively the industry somewhat wrapped its head in like Q2, Q3 of 2025 around basically how this works, what some of the basic drivers are that get content mentioned and cited by AI. And as that consensus sort of started to form, there started to be more demand for SEO services, and particularly from providers that were going to be able to adapt and optimize not only for Google rankings, but for AI mentions and citations. So I got really excited like summer of last year. I have been operating like mostly like a solo consultant and decided to build a full agency. So we're now growing a team and we have our content intelligence platform that automates keyword research and helps optimize content on your site. It's a tool that we are heavy users of. And then we help clients with data and strategy. Those are our main pillars, data and strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And that means content planning, that means content production. It increasingly means figuring out what is influencing search in your space and then going there. So if Reddit is showing up a lot in the search results and the AI results for your space, for the types of queries that are important to your business, then we're going to be on Reddit. If the media is what shows up a lot, then you're going to want to invest in digital PR. If competitors' websites own content is what shows up a lot, then we're going to focus a lot on the content on your site and having just really good, thorough, thought leadership, helpful content on your site.
Okay. 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 So you basically used AI to help streamline these processes to be able to bring organic traffic to
Yep,
businesses.
that's right.
Okay. All right. I got it. For sure. Wow. And that's
And
important now because there's so many voices out there, so many companies, um, and you don't want to get lost in the jungle with all of these different competitors that are out there. So I think that is a huge thing that you're doing to help people to streamline, and not everybody understands AI.
yeah, yeah. Is this something you're talking about on your podcast? Something that like your listeners are hearing from you about AI or even about AI
Uh,
SEO?
oh yeah, people. I have quite a few people doing the SEO on AI is always hot in every business because at this point in the universe, all businesses are pretty much incorporating AI in some form or fashion.
Yeah, they
There's
certainly should be.
yes, there's no getting around it, because it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. So businesses may as well take advantage of it and work with people that understand it if they don't understand it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
What
so
do you think your audience's like biggest questions or uncertainties are? Like, how can I be helpful, kind of helping people wrap their heads around this and adjust their strategies?
I think people want to hear what search to sell can help them do. That's what I think people want to hear.
Okay,
We want to, it's all about you and how
okay,
you can make a difference in a business, a marketing agency, or whatever the case may be. How can you make a difference?
cool. Well, one of the things I'll mention that's a distinction, unfortunately, from a lot of SEO firms is a focus is a data-driven strategy that's going to end up focused on a couple few things as compared with trying to check 20 boxes. And literally, you'll often see this from SEO firms, especially when they're like based in India or outsourcing abroad, is they just say that they do everything. And you'll literally see a list of like 30 or 40 bullet points on a slide or in a document for all the things they do. And they're mentioning meta descriptions and backlinks and maybe even podcasting and just like the list goes on and on and on. And if you see a list of 30 or 40 things, there's almost no way that they're actually doing all of that well. It also is revealing that they're not even trying to prioritize.
Mm.
The reality for any given website is probably that there's a few opportunities and shortcomings, and that we're not trying to check 30 or 40 boxes. We're trying to look analytically at how they're doing today, how their competitors are doing, and what are the factors that are influencing traditional and AI search results. Bring that together to come up with a strategy that's doing, three or five different things really well, high quality, that we believe is really going to drive traffic from the right people and actually convert, whatever you're trying to convert on your site. That's how we're different.
Okay, okay. Yeah, and that's important, especially with the shift that's happened, and some of us have arrived and some of us haven't because we don't understand the
Yep.
dynamics behind these are the things that we need to focus on.
And that's why I try to, do work for a client. We are an agency that will do hands-on work for you, but I also want to be educating while we're doing it. I want to be a consultant and an advisor so that every client is getting up to speed while we're doing this work together. I don't want a client to have to totally trust me. I want them to be able to believe in what we're doing because they understand the strategy. And so a lot of what I'm doing is bringing people along as I'm learning about this new world.
Yes, and that's important because I want to know why you doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
I want to.
yeah,
That's just me. I want to know. So just for my own benefit, what it's all about, and being
yeah,
I've been in the computer industry for over 50 years, so I've seen the evolution from mainframes to where we are today. So I'm like, I've seen all that and I've worked with a lot of different people in the space doing different things. So I get it. But the average person who's basically, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word, a user, they don't have that insight.
uh-huh, yeah,
They definitely don't have that. Okay, so I have a question for you. How does AI authority differ from the traditional SEO? So let's just educate our folks on that piece.
yeah. So I like to use an analogy to explain the role of AI in marketing, and that is that an AI tool like ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini or Claude is like a consultant working for your customer. That means it's just that it's this middle layer. Marketing through AI is not like marketing in a channel like events or Facebook, where the buyer and the seller interact directly.
Mm-hmm.
AI is an intermediary in between there. It's looking at the entire web, it's synthesizing that information, it's kind of finding the average of all the information on the web. It's curating, it's inferring authority. You asked about authority. It's inferring authority from different sources and authority that brands are demonstrating around the web. And then it's making recommendations to its customer, who is your customer. You and AI share the same customer, and AI is influencing that customer like a consultant, like an expert industry consultant would. So that means that our job, if you're marketing, is to try to show up in the sources that influence that AI consultant so that you can help teach the AI how to think, so it will in turn train its customer, who's also your customer, to kind of share your worldview and consider you among the best options in your category. And that authority that we're talking about in this new world has two parts. There's domain authority and there's brand authority. Domain authority is basically your traditional SEO stuff, which all still matters. That's your website, it's the quality of the content on your website, it's the performance of your website, it's the backlinks to your website, it's the UX on your site. All still matters a lot. Everything that has always helped SEO also helps AI visibility with some little changes like top of funnel content defining terms is not going to be useful anymore for marketing because AI is just going to answer those questions. If you're like answering, or someone is asking, like to define like a commonly understood industry jargon term, we no longer need Google to send people to some business website to, define how to calculate profit. I'm thinking of like a dumb finance example. AI will just answer those questions. So some top of funnel content has gone away from the SEO playbook, but otherwise SEO is still really important. I'm calling that domain authority.
Mm-hmm.
The other half of things, the new half of the equation, is brand authority. And this is all the offsite stuff. That's basically how your brand shows up around the web, particularly in the places where AI infers authority. So, if your industry is one where people talk a lot to each other on Reddit, you're probably going to see that there's lots of brand mentions of at least your competitors and maybe you on Reddit. If that's the case, then it's going to benefit you to be on Reddit as well, because Reddit is the number one or two most cited website by AI chatbots. Similarly, AI is looking at places like major media sites like Forbes. Forbes is also like a top 10 most cited domain in AI answers because there's a sense of authority for that big media entity. There
Mm-hmm.
also may be more niche media entities in your industry that are also going to influence how AI thinks about you and your competitors. Similarly, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is another one of those top cited sources, number four or so in AI answers. And you might see if you experiment with different prompts and with Google searches, you might see LinkedIn articles getting cited in AI answers, particularly by thought leaders in that space. And then we also believe that reviews, like the number and quality and content and sentiment of reviews, will influence AI and how AI thinks about your brand. All of this stuff is like this brand valence. It's all how your brand is showing up all around the web, particularly in places that AI believes are authoritative, and particularly with like crowd signals of credibility, like a Reddit thread that has lots of upvotes, with an answer that mentions your brand that has lots of upvotes, good reviews. There's kind of a wisdom of crowds thing emerging here with the brand authority stuff. Even on LinkedIn, you know, I'm guessing over time that the kinds of people whose articles will get cited by AI are going to be the ones that have lots of followers and have lots of engagement from people within that relevant industry. Yeah, so that's our AI authority framework.
Okay, and that's definitely seems to be now in terms of the website side of things. When you are setting up your website, and I guess you putting your what do they call it? Can't think of the term right now. When you building the website, let's talk about how you should build your website so that it's attractive to AI.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of overlap between the things that make a site good for humans and the things that make it visible for AI. Um, in part because behavior on your site is a good signal of its usefulness. and the design of a site is going to affect human behavior on the site. Um, so really clear messaging and consistent messaging around your site and between your site and other sources. You want to make sure that the way you talk about your business on LinkedIn or other social platforms is the same as the way you talk about your business on your own site. That you have some differentiating language and common language all across, common points, common value propositions, features and benefits. So that's consistency of messaging. The back end is clean. This is like the technical SEO side of things. Do regular audits with a tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush and fix those little things that they'll find, like missing or multiple H1 tags, that main heading, or images without alt text, or links that don't go anywhere. All those little things, images that are way too large and slow down loading speed time for a page. Take care of that back end stuff. Um, then there's some newer tactics. There's kind of more like front end and back end stuff. So on the front end, there's snippetable content. So FAQs is one of these things that's like easy for an algorithm or an LLM to quote. And an FAQ is what you're familiar with, what everyone is familiar with seeing on websites. Like it's often collapsible and there's like the question and then the answer. That's not only on the front end, though. An FAQ is actually also a schema. There's something you signal in the code to say this is an FAQ. That makes it even more excerptable by the robots. So I use FAQs and also even in regular body copy, there's a lot of people experimenting with having a section where the H2 is like a full sentence question phrased the way you can imagine someone asking a question in AI, and then a nice concise answer because robots will see that. They'll see that, oh, someone asked a question in ChatGPT, and this website that overall has some authority has that precise question in a header, and there's a nice, concise answer. It might just quote you. So this is kind of some of the experimental side of how we're optimizing for AI visibility. And then there's more back-end stuff like there's always been in SEO this robots.txt file, which
Mm-hmm.
a human never looks at, but it's something the robots can see. It helps them crawl a website. Well, people are now using an LLMS.txt file, which is similar, but it kind of gives instructions and information and context for LLMs that are looking at the site. I think we don't know exactly whether the OpenAIs and Googles of the world are looking at those or how they use them, but it's early days, and I think there will be more of an emerging kind of set of guidelines for things like that moving forward.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm definitely learning a whole lot from you, Adrian, because I'm always worried about visibility. Is my website set up properly? Things like that, and that's important to me because that's my store.
Exactly.
So I'm really always curious as to whether I'm in compliance with what's happening today. So thank you for that wonderful explanation. I
Yeah.
am definitely going to be listening to this multiple times because I might even do a blog from it so that I'll have it in writing to look at.
Yeah. And we're always happy to do an audit for you too. We can take a
Oh,
look at your
oh,
site or a client site or anyone in the audience as well is welcome to reach out for an audit to just get a set of steps to take to make improvements.
yeah. Okay, that sounds wonderful. And again, how do our people get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm Adrian Dahlin, Dahlin. You can find me on LinkedIn or X. Those are the places I spend the most time. Search to Sale, TO Search TO Sale is the name of our business. You can also follow Search to Sale on LinkedIn or X. And we're at searchtosale.io. It's our website.
Okay, okay. So in terms of your business, like, do you have like do-it-yourself tools as well as consulting and things like that?
Yeah, you can get just our dashboard. We call it the content intelligence platform. And that pulls in data from Ahrefs and Google Search Console and Google Analytics, including key events from Google Analytics. And it ties it all together so that it helps create full funnel reporting. And that's both for making recommendations about new content as well as monitoring existing content. And it offers recommendations like here are topics, not just individual keywords, but whole topics, like
Mhm.
clusters of keywords, where there's a lot of opportunity in your space that you're not ranking well for today. So let's go work on new content there. It'll make recommendations like here are pages that get traffic but don't convert much. So maybe you change the offer on that page. Or here are pages that do convert well but don't get a lot of traffic. Let's drive more traffic to those high converting pages, like the ones where lots of people are downloading a white paper or filling out a form. You might want to send more internal links to those pages, promote them more on social, share them in email marketing, improve their own SEO to get more organic traffic. And there's a whole lot of other recommendations in the content intelligence platform as well. Pages to unpublish because they might be dragging down your reputation with Google. So that can be a standalone tool if like for sophisticated SEO teams, they could just use our platform. And then you don't have to have your own Ahrefs or SEMrush subscription because we're integrating that data. Um, and then you also can work with us to really set strategy and plan content. Our bread and butter is actually planning content on an ongoing basis. That either you then go write based on our briefs, or we can also produce the content for you. I should also say that we start most engagements with some foundations before we get into actual hands-on SEO stuff. We want to make sure that your site and your messaging are in really good shape.
Mhm.
So we have a key messaging workshop to make sure that we have some good marketing messaging that gets at the why, not just the what of what you do,
Mhm.
but the core problem and some good resonant language. Um, we do also site structure. We often will tweak your website structure. If we're going to send more traffic to your site, we want to make sure it's well optimized to have like good navigation and calls to action and clear journeys through the content that it's easy for someone to figure out to identify who they are because most businesses serve multiple segments. You want people to be able to identify who they are and quickly find the content for them. So we'll make site structure recommendations that you can go implement yourself or have us implement. And then we get into deep keyword research and then your ongoing content planning and production.
Excuse me. Wow. That's deep. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's
Like I
really
said, we're a strategic agency.
yes, because and I'm thinking after this conversation, I'm very interested myself because I need to make sure my website is doing what it's supposed to do, period. And I mean, I create a lot of content um all the time for marketing, every day, almost every day I'm creating something to put out to pull people to the website to look at what we have or what we're doing.
Mhm.
So I know that I'm right now I do have a page that changes pretty much every week because of the interviews I do. Everything that every interview goes on my website as well as all of the other podcast
Nice.
houses. So I
Yeah.
have it automatically pulling in. As soon as they go up, they automatically pull in. And also testimonies.
Nice.
But I'm sure there's some other areas that I
Yeah.
need to work on.
Yeah, we can take a look. We can talk offline about maybe working on your site structure or your messaging. We can take a look and see what's needed.
Yes, and mainly because of the time that I have. I probably could understand it because of my background, but it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the time. I'm just going to be straight up to really sit down and do all of the little things that need to be done. And like most businesses, And even though I have a background, but do I really want to do that? I really don't. I want somebody else to do it.
Yeah, we got your back.
Yeah, and that's most businesses. And you know, let's say, for example, your business is insurance. You definitely don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You don't
We
even
want
understand.
everyone doing what's in their zone of genius, right?
Right, exactly, exactly. And you don't even know the first place to start. And when you even try to look at it, it's like walk, 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 because that's not your lane.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's another reason, just philosophically, why we're pretty focused as an agency and not trying to be like a full service agency. Because I'm a big believer that you want a specialist in every role in your company. You know, that goes for internal hires and for consultants or agencies that you hire. You want people who really deeply know what they're working on and can collaborate with people who are adjacent, but who ultimately are pretty narrowly and deeply focused on one thing. So that's us for SEO and GEO, and we love working with agencies that do adjacent things like paid search. We don't do any paid search, any paid anything, but we'll work side by side with a paid search, firm to like share our keyword research and figure out each of us can learn what's working well from the other. Or like social, social is very complementary to what we do. We do a lot of B2B, so like LinkedIn is really valuable.
Mhm.
Um, but we're not producing LinkedIn content, except for maybe like LinkedIn articles, because that's very similar to blog and website content. Um, but yeah, we're really dedicated to being experts in our lane.
Yes, and that's what you want, because I mean, you you know the old saying, what is it? You know a lot of stuff, but you don't master. You're not a master at anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can't get
yeah,
the term right now, but you know what
yeah. When it's
I'm talking
something
about.
master of none,
Yes, yes, yes. So that's,
you
and
get the
I
first
like
part.
dealing with people that are expertise in what they do that I don't have the expertise in.
Yeah, yeah. And then they can go to you for the things that you are expert in.
Yes, exactly. So again, Adrian, how do companies connect with you? Because they're going to need you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn, Adrian Dahlin, Dahlin. You can go to our website and request a free audit if you'd like. That's SEARCHTOSALE.io. Um, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, and I'll make sure all of his information is in the show notes. So that way you can just click and go, which is what I'm going to do, click and go. I
All
mean,
right.
I had to click around to get ready for you today, but my next click will really be about learning how I can use your services to support what I'm doing because
Great. Yeah, I would love to
that's
have that
important to
conversation.
me. Some people just build websites and they just let it go and
I
hope
know.
for the best. And I'm like, I'm not that girl. I want it's out there. I spent man hours building it. I needed to perform.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, that's another reason I really like, speaking of like working with adjacent agencies, I love working with web development agencies because they're typically good at like the initial technical SEO foundations. Hopefully they're good at that, but they're not working on ongoing content strategies. They're not marketers usually. And so I love working with a web dev firm. Well, we'll do research to help inform the website plan. Then the dev firm builds the website. We will have informed it with keyword research, with messaging development, with calls to action and site structure recommendations. Then the website firm does the thing they're good at, and then we tap back in after that to help with ongoing content stuff.
Yeah, so that's like teamwork
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
sure. That's teamwork. Wow,
Yeah.
this has been amazing. I've learned so much
I'm
from
glad to
you.
hear it. Glad we could do this.
Yes, I can't wait to get the transcript.
Cool. And we can book some time for next week to talk about what you're working on and how we can help.
All right, sound like a plan. I like that. So I'm gonna probably later on mosey on over to your website and then and definitely dig in so that I can see everything that you offer, and then definitely going to take advantage of the audit. And I
Great.
advise everybody was watching and listening and have a website to do at least that,
Amen.
because then you know what you didn't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Data is power.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, I appreciate you, Adrian. Thank you so much. Thank you also, audience, because without you, we have nothing.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely.